Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I'm going to be doing my wrap-up, or kind of my part 2 wrap-up for the Spookathon readathon that I took part in this year. So Spookathon is hosted by Kayla over at Books and Lala. I love Spookathon. I did it last year, I did this year again. It's just an excuse to read more wonderful, creepy, lovely books. So I talked about in my first video that I actually switched up my TBR. And I normally don't do that, but there were some books I was dying to read, and if you want to know what kind of my first half of my Spookathon was like, go to that first video. This video, and I was just going to mention this look, kind of a bit of a raver, crazy clown, Alice kind of, yeah. Anyway, that's the look. In this video, I'm going to talk about the books that on balance I read for the rest of Spookathon. So, the first one, I talked about this. This is Tunnel of Bones by Victoria Schwab. I freaking love this book. So I love the series. So the first book in the series is City of Ghosts, and kind of the premise of this series is that Cassidy, the main character, lots of S's there, she has parents that are kind of paranormal ghost hunters and historians, and her mother's more the ghost hunter, the believer, and her father's more the historian. And they write books, but they've been commissioned to do a TV series and go to the most haunted cities in the world. The first book in the series starts off in Edinburgh, so I recommend reading the first one. The first book's fantastic. It's called City of Ghosts, and they go off to Edinburgh. But the joke kind of is almost on her parents, because Cassidy can actually see ghosts, real ghosts. And her best friend is a ghost boy. And there she meets a fellow girl who can also do the same thing, and kind of jump in between our world and the ghost realm. And it's very, very good. This book, Tunnel of Bones, loved it as well. Absolutely loved it. Just gave it 5 stars. It's a middle grade series, but it's actually a lot creepier than I would have thought a middle grade series was, so actually slightly bordering on YA sometimes. But this is it in Paris, which is my favourite city in the world, in the catacombs in Paris as well. So you go to different locations. You go to Peter Chase's cemetery, which is really cool, but a lot of it happens in the catacombs, and it's just wonderful. It's perfect for this time of year, perfect for Halloween. So if you want a quick, lovely, fun, middle grade kind of horror, and there's nothing too bloody or too terrible going on here, I highly recommend this. I just love it. I love this book. And I think I use this for the challenge of red on the cover as well, and like a spooky title. Bones is kind of spooky, so love that. And then the next one that I want to talk about is this book over here. So Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. This is a book, I think I said in the previous video, I've kind of been dying to get to this and read it. And first of all, how gorgeous is that cover? This is a look I want to recreate, this kind of Day of the Dead sort of bruja look, but it's gorgeous. So this is about a family of bruja, or witches, and it's got some great representation in it. It's also set in modern day, so it's set in modern day New York, and the main character, she is on the eve of her birthday, and she's kind of on the eve of coming into her full power. So actually, in the beginning, we're not too sure what her power is, but she's going to come into her powers, and she kind of doesn't want to. So she casts a spell or an incantation to kind of give her gift back, and it all goes a bit wrong. And she teams up with a boy she meets in a magic shop, I think it's a magic, kind of a esoteric shop, and they kind of go on a quest to save her family, because something goes wrong in this kind of incantation and her family's in peril. But also along the way, and what I love about this book is her best friend, and there's a gorgeous slow burn female romance in this book. There is a follow-up book to this, so it'll be interesting to see how that develops and where the follow-up book goes. But I just adored the relationship between these two characters, and it's not romance, but it's this slow underlying, you know, that there's these strong feelings for each other, and it's really realistic, and it's really beautiful, and it's kind of romantic, because her best friend follows her into this horrible dimension that they go into to save her family because she loves her, and it's just beautiful. It's one of my favorites that I've read in a while, particularly in a book like this, and sort of more of a YA kind of supernatural book. So absolutely love that aspect. This is 4, maybe even 4.5 star read. It's just great. There's a mixture of kind of witchy action, crazy characters, kind of a quest, Great main character, great side characters. I really like this book. I highly recommend it. Again, actually, did I put this in my book in the video? I think I may have put this in my witches video as well. It's gorgeous. So Queer Witches, lovely. Then the next one. One of the challenges in this readathon was to read a book you wouldn't normally read. And I kind of deliberated. I didn't really know what to get. And I ended up using this book here. So this is 10,000 Doors of January. By, who is this? By Alex Harrow. So the reason I kind of picked that for this category is because this isn't a queer book, which is kind of I read pretty much only queer books, particularly only for this channel. But also, it's one of these books that I wouldn't necessarily have picked up if I hadn't heard a lot of hype about it online. A lot of people were talking about it. There was a lot of really positive feedback, and then there was some negative feedback, and it kind of interested me to see where I'd sit on this. And it just, so the concept of sort of portals and going into portal worlds I really like, and it really interested me, but it wouldn't necessarily be something I would pick up. So I thought, for the challenge, also, how gorgeous is that cover? I thought, let's pick it up, good for the season. So what is this about? It's set in sort of the early 1900s, and you have January, who is described as a girl with sort of, I think, burnished amber or reddish, darkish skin, and she's living with a rich gentleman at the time, and it follows her as she grows up from sort of, I think, an 8-year-old child through to when she's 17, 18, and her father is away, and he works for this rich guy, and he apparently goes around the world getting artifacts, because this guy is like an archaeological artifact buff. And it's interesting because you have that part of the story. So you have her story, January's story. And then you have this book that she got, that she found, that her father essentially sent her. And it's you get to realize it's a story about another woman, Adelaide. And she kind of falls through a portal world and sort of explores portals. So you've got that mixed in it. You've got some interesting commentary around the time, so around race and colour, also being a woman. There's a part in this book where January is sent off to an asylum, which is interesting. It's beautifully written. I like the writing. I like that quite lyrical writing. I think it kind of suits something like this. I understand why a lot of people are saying there's not that much action. There is action, but more, I would say, towards the latter third of the book. There's kind of a lot of build up. A lot of people said they didn't like the other story, so the one she's reading. I liked it because it tied in the end, so you knew why it was happening. Maybe, again, right in the beginning, you're kind of a bit like, why am I reading this? But stick with it because it does tie in with January's story. So I liked it. It's a tough one. I did like it. I did. There isn't a lot of romance in this. There's sort of a barest hint of it. You could argue Jane, who is January's companion, does say that when she was with a warrior tribe, she had 2 husbands and a tribe wife. So tenuous queer link there, but it is kind of, I kind of enjoyed it. I would get it. It's definitely more than a 3-star. It's at least a 3.5, 3, 7, 5. Maybe if the beginning bit, some of those extracts from the book that she's reading, were a little bit like, oh, I kind of skimmed 1 or 2 of them, but then towards the end it became interesting. So maybe, I don't know, 4-star. I don't know where I land on this, but I think it's interesting. I think it's, if you like that slight portal element, this passing, with not a heavy romance and quite a plucky heroine in the end. Be a bit annoying in the beginning. Yeah, I quite liked it. So, all in all, a very successful Spookathon. Let me know if you've read any of these, also what you read if you took part in Spookathon, and as always, any recommendations that you have that you think I would like. And I will speak to you all again very soon.